Good morning, guys. So I haven't done a video talking about college in a while because I plan on doing it every semester, I guess. Basically, I made another video before talking about what my experience was after the first week and after the first semester, but now I am pretty much done. There is one more week of classes and then 1 week of exams, but I basically already know what my outcome is because we have already applied for next year, so I had to know, like, are my marks high enough to get in and stuff. So if you don't already know, I am taking pre-health, which is basically what you take before you go into any sort of healthcare if you need to get your mark higher, or if you don't know what you want to do but you know you want to do healthcare. So I took pre-health because apparently my high school marks were not high enough, so I figured taking pre-health would just boost them up, since it's basically repeating what you did in high school. And that was not the case. I will talk about that later, but I knew I wanted to be a nurse, so I took pre-health with the intention of getting into nursing after, and that did also not happen, which I will talk about. Overall, my whole college experience has been just, I hate it. I don't know. I thought college would be easy because in high school I was working towards getting into university. My marks were not high enough in high school to get me into the university program I wanted to get into. So I decided in the last semester of high school to drop down to college classes, which would mean that I can only go to college. At least go to college before I go to university. So I was like, okay, we'll do that. So I dropped down to college classes and my marks went way higher than what they were in the university classes. So I was like, oh wow, this is way too easy. I basically just hated the last semester of high school because of how easy it was. I felt like I wasn't doing anything. I felt like I needed to do something. Part of that was because one of my teachers was just a bad teacher. But then I got accepted into college for pre-health. Away from home, and then back home I got accepted into pre-health and modified PSW, which would have been the thing I should have taken because it would have been 1 year as a PSW, second year's working towards nursing. So I would have been a PSW and a nurse at the end of it, but I just wanted to move away from home. I didn't want to live at home anymore. And first semester, I did okay. I passed everything. I almost failed math, but they offered me to retake an exam to get a higher mark, so I did that, and I passed in the end. And this semester, I am just doing worse. I'm not at the end yet, so I can't say if I have failed anything. I'm gonna assume that I will fail math because I almost did last time and my mark is pretty low right now. I think all my other classes I will be okay with, which is chemistry, physics, biology, anatomy, comm, communications. I did good in RIT last semester and I did good in success strategies. It's basically just math I have the problem with, but my marks just aren't high enough to get me into nursing or anything that I really want. So I've had to switch my plan of what I want to do. I really wish that I was told there was different ways to get to nursing before I decided to do pre-health, because I could have done PSW for a year. If my marks were high enough, I could get into nursing. I could have done general arts and science and gone into nursing, or I could have done what I'm doing now. But nobody told me that what I'm doing now is absolutely the hardest way to get to nursing. It's funny because in the success strategies course we had last semester, what was supposed to help us do good in all of our other classes, he literally said at one point, effort produces success. And I was like, where? I'm putting so much effort in and I haven't gotten anywhere. It's just kind of a piss off that I put so much effort into this. And it was basically a waste of money for my family and for me because I had to pay for my groceries. I could go back home and do PSW. If I applied now, I'd probably still get in because my high school marks are pretty high. Like, I was getting 80 averages in high school, and then now I'm getting like 40, 60 average. It's sad. And I don't know what happened because I have so much more quiet time now to study than what I had at home. I put so much effort into my study notes and studying with friends and study groups and asking for help. And yeah, it didn't help me at all. And when I went to see the success lady for my program, she told me to study less. In June, I will be moving into an apartment down here. My first apartment. And I'm going to be doing personal support worker, PSW, in the fall, which is basically pretty close to nursing. You're taking care of people in hospitals or in nursing homes, and that's something I like doing. I'll only end up getting like $14 an hour, but if my marks are high enough from that, I can probably get into practical nursing, which is what I really want. I've also been like trying to plan around with, like, my boyfriend's doing a program that is 3 years, and we've been together for 4 years, so it's not like a new relationship that I can just end and throw to the side. It's a big part of my life, so I have to kind of plan around his program and how long we're going to be staying in this town or city. Yes, it's a city. Initially, when I was starting college, I was like, okay, his program is 3 years and nursing is 3 years, but then I found out I had to take pre-health, so I was like, can we stay an extra year so that I can finish my program? He was like, yeah, there's no problem to be doing another year of school, but he said that's okay and we can stay here a few years until everyone gets their school figured out and everyone has a job, we make some money, and then we'll probably move somewhere else, depending on where we gotta go for work. I was able to get a bursary from the school because I have a learning problem. Yeah, so it's definitely a lot of money that will help me, but the school holds on to it, so I have to get approved for whatever I want, so I can get anything that will help me with learning, so I can get a tutor and get a new laptop because mine is, can you hear that? It's making loud noises. It's going downhill, but it's like, it'll last me a little bit. And personal support worker is easier than pre-health from what I understand, because you're not doing chemistry and bio and math and all this stuff. I think it's just mostly like you're learning how to treat patients. So that's kind of what I have wanted. I wanted to just jump into my program. I didn't want to take this pre-something because it doesn't help me. Everything we're learning now, I already learned in high school, besides for physics and anatomy. But anatomy and bio are so close that I'm doing great in anatomy. It's basically a repeat of high school, and my high school marks are way higher than what these marks are. And I also talked to the success lady about that, and she was like, oh, because I told her I was taking university prep in high school, and now I am in college, and she was like, okay, that normally doesn't happen. Nobody knows how to help me, and I think it just comes down to my learning problem, and the fact that this pre-health is like the hardest pre-health in Ontario or something like that. Other programs, they let you use a calculator in math. This one does not, and when you've used a calculator your whole life and you have a learning problem on top of that, it's very difficult. Non-school wise, I've made quite a few friends, a couple, a group. 2 of my roommates I consider my friends. I made friends with a girl in my program and a few acquaintances in the program. I wouldn't call them like as good of friends as what the one girl is, but you'll probably see a video with me and her in it eventually if you stick around this channel, because she has a really interesting ghost story that she might let me share with you guys. So I made a few friends last semester too, but because the new semester started, they're not in my classes. 1 girl, 2 girls from high school that are one's in my program, so I am so close to her, but since my program's only like a pre-program, pretty much everyone I met is just gonna leave and go do a different program. But the 1 girl, Jamie, I'll just say her name because you're gonna meet her eventually. Jamie is gonna do probably a program in the same city, so maybe a different school but the same city, so I'll probably stay in touch with her, I would hope so. I'll probably keep in touch with my roommates, but at least that's a good thing that came out of college. And then I probably will do a video eventually about my experience living with roommates and stuff too, so if you want to see that, let me know, but if not, I'm probably gonna make it anyway. Environment wise, I talked about that like in the last one, I think. I don't know. I don't really feel like I'm living in a hospital anymore because I have so many belongings everywhere that it just feels like it's my room. When I go home, I refer to this as my house, my place, like my home. So I feel like I'm finally past the stage of like being homesick and just like making this place mine. But then I'm moving in 2 weeks back home. I'm gonna work on the farm a little bit, probably try to, and make some money, and then I can get ready for moving into my first apartment. I'll let you guys know how all that goes. I still haven't done a room tour, so I need to do a room tour, even though my thing on the wall over there fell off, which makes me sad, really sad, because I can't find a sticky thing to stick it back, so I just ripped it off because I'm going home in 2 weeks anyway. There's also been a lot of sleeping problems for me. Basically I need 10 to 12 hours of sleep to like function properly. If I get any less than that, then I end up sleeping in, which normally I cannot sleep in. Normally I'm up at like 7 or 8, 9 every morning. Me sleeping in until 11 is probably the latest I've ever slept in. And you know when I sleep in that I need it. Part of that is because of my roommate. So I will make another video on that. But it's also because everyone else stays up late, and so I try to stay up late, but then I get way too tired. And there was one time where I was woken up and I just didn't go to class because I walked class every day, and I literally thought that if I got up and started walking I might faint because of my low blood pressure, because I didn't have any energy. So I was like, no, I think I'm gonna just take it easy today and not go, just in case. And it's interesting to see like how different my sleeping patterns are compared to other people's, because when I say like how many hours of sleep I need, and when I go to sleep people are like, what? But they never ask when I wake up, so it's like I don't sleep in as much as you do probably. Like they probably get almost just as much sleep and they just sleep in and I don't. Maybe, I don't know. So far I've learned that pretty much every college student runs on lack of sleep, caffeine, and anxiety. So yeah, that's an explanation of just college for you. I guess that's it. I can't think of anything else to say to you guys, so bye!